Today we finish off the Companion series with what has actually proved to be one of the most definitive modules of the Companion series, Legacy of Blood. I say definitive because it's everything that the Companion setting was meant to be. A ton of necessary background information, and for once it's needed because the module is all about finding out who's trying to scare people off their land so he can get it all for himself. That's right, this is a D&D Scooby Do Mystery. So let's look at the last of the Companion series. I'm Mr. Welch, and welcome to Mystara. This is Legacy of Blood. The module was the ninth and last of the Companion series, written in 1987 by Steve Perrin and Catherine Kerr. Steve Perrin is famous for being a founding member of the Society for Creative Anachronisms back in '66. He also penned Chaosium's fantasy RPG RuneQuest, along with a whole host of RPG books way too long to mention here. Catherine Kerr is best known for the long-running DeVary series of fantasy novels, as well as writing for Pendragon and becoming the contributing editor to Dragon. So you've got two people with solid pedigrees writing a module, so this should be a good one, and spoilers, it is. The cover art is pure clickbait because long before we had the internet, as the escaped princess hiding from the orcs only appears on the cover. Actually, so do the orcs. The only thing on the cover that actually appears in the module is the swamp itself. The interior art is from Eric Gellin, and there's a fair bit of interior art in this one. The module starts in a tavern because, of course, it does. One of the party members' second cousin, twice removed, has kicked the bucket and has left you his domain, as you are the only surviving family member that qualified to be a ruler. So off you go to Darrican City to fill out the paperwork to make the transfer legal, then you're off to Finhold, your new home. The module is very political in nature. It's all about fixing the numerous problems of this tiny little domain. There's no great military threat. The largest band of bad guys numbers only 30. It's located firmly between Alfheim and Karamiko, so you're very much in the middle of Darrican. There's no external threat. There's no border raids coming from the Broken Lands, for example. Once this module gets going, it's very much a bottle episode, as everything is located in the province of Finhold. When you get there, you're going to find it's in a state of disarray because inheriting a well-run domain that's chugging along fine would be boring. The old leader was trying to drain a fen, a swamp, to improve the road there. The problem is the Finn folk that live there don't want that to happen. The party finds out that the chief administrator didn't know what he was doing. He wasn't corrupt. He managed to get everybody angry at him because he just really didn't know how to run things. Of course, he turns up dead as soon as you arrive, so the position becomes immediately open. Once the party arrives, the true adventure starts. And Finhold is a mess. There's a laundry list of problems that the party gets handed almost immediately. It's an extremely poor domain. The road would help increase income greatly, but that would displace a third of the population. There's a large population of hen in the domain that don't trust the humans, and the feeling is mutual. The farmers and the Finn folk don't get along. That's the mess you walk into. Everybody hates everybody. Everything is in need of repair, even the manor home you inherited. All the normal domain positions have been vacated, so you get to hand those out to the rest of the party. And then it becomes obvious that somebody is messing with the domain to try to scare people off for various reasons. The mechanic in the game is the confidence rating. You start it off at shaky, and you have to get it to at least an average in about a month. It's not a lot to raise as far as the domain system goes, but there's a hidden bad guy sabotaging your efforts. All you know about the bad guy starting off is that he calls himself the Water Lord, and he's stirring up trouble all over the domain for reasons unknown. Unlike a lot of similar modules, there's no obvious bad guy. There's a ton of suspected bad guys, and you've got to figure out who's the actual evil and who's just obnoxious. Most of the previous council quitter got fired, and more than a few people don't want the new road built, so there's a lot of bad blood in this domain. The challenges in the game are numerous, and they all impact the confidence rating. Ignoring a small thing can lower the rating, like not helping a farmer round up loose cows. It's a small town, so everybody knows everybody. Play favorites or concentrate fixing up on just your stuff, and people will notice and not like it. The issue, of course, is that everything needs fixing. The party will get run ragged trying to settle all the lawsuits, fix the infrastructure, and undo the sabotage. You will also have to get to know the dozen or so major NPCs and figure out how to solve the numerous beefs between them. And you have to do it quickly. The module is pretty harsh on procrastination and hem-hawing. More than any of the previous modules, this one needs to be updated to the rule cyclopedia for the skills alone. You'll make more charisma and intelligence checks than you will attack rolls in this one. Diplomacy is key for the adventure. The module lives and dies on getting things done without resorting to force. There's a ton of investigation and compromise that is required to succeed in the module. There is some combat, but it's at the end. Before that, there's some relatively minor combat. It's not much of a threat to the party. It's one of the most combat-light modules in the Mystara setting. Okay, now for the Scooby-Doo part. It's tough to guess who the bad guy is in this one because there's just so many suspects. Even if you do figure out who he is, you don't know where he is until he gets cocky and reveals himself. At the end, you chase him down to the obligatory dungeon crawl, which is kind of one-sided in favor of the party. The big bad is an intelligent villain. He's not there to confront you directly. He's got numerous plots to chase off the domain lord by making the lord unpopular with the people, so the government of Darrican kicks him out and replaces him, preferably with the new big bad, just like in Scooby Doo. You don't have to kill him. A good DM can save him for the future. If you could turn him into Bargle if you wanted to, but that would be too obvious. Play him well and you'll make the party paranoid, blaming everything that goes wrong on the villain, even the stuff that he doesn't do. The module is absolutely back me, because it's all about ruling a domain and changing the politics of the world. 5th edition would require you to run this with numerous types of house rules to make up the fact the game doesn't have rules for this sort of adventure. Additionally, because the module is pretty combat scarce, a lot of the more bloodthirsty players might get bored with it. There is a dragon they can fight late in the game, and if you grab its treasure, it makes the module much easier. Since 5th edition doesn't really give you much to do with gold, this is a great place to spend it. The module encourages creativity to deal with the numerous problems in the adventure. If the party has the gold to fix a large amount of the problems, let them. If the party has too much gold, then that can be a problem at high levels. This is the perfect adventure to let them blow it all on the roads, the buildings, the guards, or anything else they can think of. Best part, they will be spending the money freely and not having arbitrarily taken from them. The best way to remove excess treasure from a party is to convince them they want to spend it. If they're creative, reward them. They've only got a month to turn this domain around, but if they want to spend a few 100,000 gold pieces bringing in dwarven engineers to build a road through the fens without disturbing it, good for them. If you want to fight off the bad guys by bringing in a large party of mercenaries, that can happen as well. You can have elves grow bridges out of trees to accomplish the same thing as the dwarves, but still make the Fen folk happy. Reward the party for thinking outside the box, especially if they can successfully delegate the mundane tasks to competent NPCs and try to hunt down the big bad. Let them. That's the way this module is meant to be played. If they find the secret big bad lair and thwart them before he makes his grand reveal, give them more XP. You don't have to punish players for jumping ahead of the plot if they're natural leaders. Let the game reflect that. Now that I've sung the praises of the module, it's time for harsh reality. This is the hardest module to find in the Companion series. It goes for about $80 minimum secondhand. You can find it cheaper if you're patient, but not by much. The PDF is $5, of course. There's no print-on-demand copy yet. You can play with the PDF. There's not that many maps in the modules, but a separate map of the domain would be nice. Plus, I really like having physical copies. It's a rare older module with a decent plot, so of course that's going to make it cost a ton. So that wraps up the Companion series. Lots of world building with some high-level shenanigans. Of course, it's got some bombs like Endless Stare, and the Tree of Life was actually an expert-level module dressed up like a companion level. The Legacy of Blood was a good module to go out on. I wish they had made more modules like this in other countries. Maybe we need to write some more to accomplish that. So before jumping into the master level modules, I'm going to take a break from talking about modules to talk about the first 2nd edition box set, the Karamiko's Kingdom of Adventure set. This was TSR's attempt to save the line of Mystara, updating it to the next edition, high quality production, but it also showcased the flaws of the Mystara setting after Wrath of the Immortals. So until next time, remember, don't gradually describe your character till it's obviously you're describing Burt Reynolds.